Hello, and welcome to Black Metal and Brews, a program in which I now stream from my phone as well as my laptop. So if you're watching on YouTube, give me 2 seconds while I set up my phone to live stream. Hello, everybody. And we're just getting that ready. I learned yesterday that I can't start both at the same time or else neither one starts, which was a thrilling learning experience. All right, hello. So, welcome to Black Metal and Brews properly. I don't have to see my face as big because the computer screen is blocked, preventing me from seeing what I am doing, which is actually great. I can see the Instagram one, but it's smaller and not as overwhelming and stressful. Today, as we've been doing, I'm going to share a few records that I really loved in 2018 and 2019. And, you can listen along. I'm going to drink a beer. You can drink along at home with whatever you've got. And since I've got so darn much to play today, I'm going to get started right away. The first record we're going to play today for this episode of Black Metal and Brews is Funereal Presence with, I don't pronounce this, Achathius, I don't know. I think it's like a Greek name, like Charon or something, but who knows? It's certainly not me. I'm sure I could have done my research on this beforehand, but that's not in the nature of what I do or who I am, regrettably. I hope you're all staying safe and healthy today. It's a lovely day here in Brooklyn. I haven't been outside in a long time, but it looks it. So, not a whole lot of detail, but the label is really cool. I'm actually going to put that a little closer so you can kind of just how beautiful that label is. The label on Instagram, it looks green, but that's just what it is. So yeah, so we are going to listen to the A side of this Funereal Presence record because it's a ripper, one of the best black metal albums of the last year, for sure. So we're gonna listen to the first 2 tracks, and then I'll pour some beer and show you some album art, and probably pull a bunch of non-existent ideas out of nowhere and hope for the best, like we always do. There we are. So this song, the first one's called "Wherein Achathius is Awakened and Called Upon." Like the whole thing is like all the songs begin with the word "wherein," so it's like almost like chapters of a book. Gosh, we got a lot of folks coming in here on Instagram, so hello. And YouTube, I've still got a handful of you there. It just doesn't tell me who you are on YouTube unless you leave a comment. Whereas on Instagram, I can see exactly who's watching and either say hello or prepare myself to get roasted by a friend. So again, Funereal Presence, Achathius. We're going to listen to the A side today. Absolutely beautiful album art. Very, very much of the timeless sort. And also, this is one of my favorite artist pictures. I don't know if you can see it because I'm hiding my face, but I think it's great. Like, let's see, how's that looking? Yeah, just ridiculous artist picture, ridiculous album art. Like everything about this is just beautiful. It's meticulously assembled. It's what I like. I think it's and it happens to kind of walk a line between some modern sensibility, but really classic, like old heavy black metal worship. I don't think it doesn't sound the same as Malacarpitan, but it kind of touches the same notes for me of being like firmly in classics and like just timeless black metal. The beer we're drinking today, Mikkeller, Passion Pool. A passion pool kind of looks like somebody's stewing in their own juices. So I don't know if I'm into that kind of a passion pool, but here we are. It is a passion fruit goza, I believe. So that's kind of cool. Yeah. Drinking along with me. Feel free to let me know what you're drinking. That's beautiful. There we go. Well, it's got a beautiful smell. It smells like, well, I mean, of course, passion fruit, like, but strongly. That really, like, when I was a kid, I spent summers in Maui because my mom lived there, and so we drink a lot of pog, which is not just a game, but it's passion orange guava juice. As a consequence that I often confuse passion fruit and guava for each other. Hmm. Oh, that's good. I love salt. That little cowbell kick in. Oh, I love that. Um, yeah, I love goza. I love a little salt to kind of balance out my beer for some reason. Maybe I'm just trying to kill my heart faster. I don't know. I'm a high sodium diet even in my beer, but especially with the sweetness, it's like a really well-rounded sour almost the way it's presented, but it's not overly funky and sour. It's not too tart if that's something you find off-putting. Still give it a shot. It's really tasty. Oh, it's good. And hello Farhad. And if you're watching this and you have a hookup with proper glassware, let me know. I'm definitely in need of a proper beer glass that's not this hilarious but imperfect Dollar Tree Halloween purchase. So let's see, what's new in the world today? Uh, our household did a grocery run, and by that I mean Autumn, my girlfriend. I did not. We decided it was safer to have one of us go out since we only have so many gloves and so many face masks. So she did it this time. I think next time I'm going to do it. So that was exciting to have new food. So I don't know. I made us like vegetarian BLTs for lunch because we got stuff to make that today, and that was exciting to have a BLT. I don't know. To be fair, I haven't really been looking at the news as much today because I feel like it's a lot more of the same. And while I'm into staying informed, I don't need to be scared or depressed right now. Hello. Good to have you here. Good to have everybody here. But yeah. So for those just tuning in, we're drinking a beer and playing black metal and brews. The beer is Mikkeller's Passion Rule. It's really good. It's like a passion fruit goza. So it's a little salty, a little sweet, a little tart. And we're listening to Funereal Presence playing a Chathius. Absolute ripper, one of last year's best, like far and away. Ridiculously good music. One-man band. He's a member of Negative Plane. It clearly doesn't sound like Negative Plane. He's doing his own thing, and it's just marvelous. Let me tell you. I don't know if you can hear, but it sounds like there's almost like a tiny little xylophone playing along with the melody, that guitar lead. It's really cool, I think. There's not for this part, obviously. Kicking in. And so I'm trying to drink something kind of lighter, more refreshing. Although, to be fair, I'm also just making do with what we got at home. Yeah, it's really a strange time of year to have this sort of thing happen because it feels like on the one hand, a lot of ways it feels like the world is coming to life when spring comes, and not just like in the poetic sense of it blossoms. Like it's like the thaw from winter. It's warm again. Suddenly the sun's out past 5 p.m. Uh, it all kind of just feels like like you're waking up, and at the same time, there's this looming threat of death, destruction. People are dying. The hospital where I go to get my infusions for my ulcerative colitis just had a nurse who works there died in that hospital because of the COVID-19. It's scary. That's weird, but that's the world we live in right now. I guess is one where we have this balance of beauty and also horror, really. Uh, that's why I'm glad to see some efforts for stimulus bill to go through to help people out. I don't think anything is ever quite enough that any politicians are going to suggest because they are looking out for the interest of big business, not the working class, certainly not the people who are struggling or have not even been able to find work prior to this. But some small, token of kindness is something, and I'm glad for that. It's better than I would have expected, I guess. So, you know, it's a yeah, it's a strange time, and I'm glad to have my safety and health today. I hope that you have it as well. I hope that you retain it. Uh, I think I mentioned this the other day. I talked with my dad on the phone. I don't know. Time is weird right now. 5 days ago, 3 days ago, sometime in the last week. And he mentioned to me that he said I'm getting in trouble with your stepmom because I told her that chances are everybody knows somebody who's going to die from this, and knock on wood, so far nobody I know has fallen ill to that degree. I think a couple people I know may have it and have been sick, but they're okay. But that's terrifying, and of course you don't want it to be yourself. Uh, you don't want it to be anybody even like flu. So I realize in the internet age, we know a lot more people than we used to. But even if you're a stranger, but I still know your name and face, like maybe we had drinks once or crossed paths at a music festival or something. Like that's still a person with experiences who doesn't deserve to die from something that really could have been clamped down and prevented so much earlier. Additionally, I know a lot of people are losing their jobs. I'm terrified of what's going to happen come April 1st because I think a lot of people's landlords are going to just be heartless about things regardless of circumstance. And that's terrifying too. Even if you retain your physical health, you may be out on the street because of a global pandemic. The fact that there isn't any sort of built-in safeguards is criminal because the people that make the laws are not of the class where they're not one bad month away from being homeless. And I think, if anything, maybe this is a chance for everybody to kind of develop that class solidarity that maybe they haven't had before because they had some illusion that they were a step above somebody else, maybe. I don't know. Whatever sort of selfish rhetoric it is. Uh, but we'll see. It's bizarre. And again, because I have people kind of tuning in and tuning out, we're doing a Black Metal and Blues video. We got Funereal Presence of Chethius playing on the turntable. Some wild art on the front and back. Drinking Mikkeller Passion Pool, which is also kind of wild in its own way. Uh, I also, I guess, should say this guy, like the sole member of the band, calls himself Bestial Devotion or Bestial Devotion. That's a hell of a name. I mean, it kind of reminds me of the names of the mortuary grave guys have given themselves. And to be fair, this is kind of cut from that same family as black metal. So this song is called "Wherein a Messenger of the Devil Appears." Uh, what an exciting thing! Uh, and maybe this guy brought all this on. Like looking at the sound art and the fact that on the back it says "Reaping time is near, the fifth angel of destruction is here." Maybe Bestial Devotion knew something we don't. Was aware that there'd be global crisis, or really more likely, this is a typical heavy metal trope, and eventually somebody was going to hit the mark when they said the end is near, because the end is always kind of near. And I'm being told on Instagram, so for you on YouTube, you're not seeing this, but it sounds good from my friend Carmen, who runs a Food Not Bombs in Florida, which you are fighting the good fight. Food Not Bombs was one of the earliest components of my personal radicalization politically, both serving and tabling for them, and then volunteering at a local anarchist bookstore, or info shop rather. Uh, when I was maybe 19, like that was a big deal. So these are things that matter. Uh, I'm hoping more than ever people who have the capacity to do these things will. I'm really hoping at least. You know, I don't expect everybody to fall in line with my beliefs. But even if this just pushes you to be more aware of, situations of others, then some small good has come from this. Uh, Even though this is not good, obviously, I should go without saying. I know a lot of people who have the attitude of, well, I don't feel like I'm being affected, but maybe your neighbor is. Maybe somebody you love afraid to acknowledge it, or maybe you just haven't noticed it. And I think knowing just how tenuous the ground that we're all standing on is right now, I'm hoping that at least we get a stronger semblance of compassion uh, to come out of this very trying and terrifying time. I also think that hopefully great art comes from all this time spent indoors and all those things. But to me, even though I'm here to celebrate those things, a lot of it is secondary if there isn't a world for us to enjoy art in. Uh, so, you know. So yeah, boy, we got more lovely people coming in on Instagram. Again, if you're watching on YouTube, you can't see that, but it tells me every time somebody new says, joins in, says hello. So thank you, welcome. And we're doing Black Metal and Brews. Uh, for those who joining in, drinking a fancy beer, playing a fancy record. This was one of my favorite black metal albums of 2019. It's called The Chaffiest by Funereal Presence. And it looks ridiculous and it sounds ridiculous. Drinking a beer by Mikkeller. Passion Pool. I almost feel like an advert right now, but, this stuff is killer. Oh, and my dear friend Siobhan just joined in on Instagram. Hello, Siobhan. Uh, Glad to have you. Much love to you and yours. Uh, yeah. So we've just got these soothing sounds of, you know, cool black metal. I'll admit I often think a lot of dudes that kind of have this evil presence are corny, as I often say, but this this is convincing enough. This is maniacal enough. I don't think this guy is evil. He's probably just some guy that lives here in New York and drinks too much or something like that. I highly doubt this guy is an agent of chaos or something like that. But it's damn good anyway, so I'm happy with it. Also, it takes a hell of a lot to be a one-man band. So, if anybody out there is drinking along, here's to you. Cheers. Good to have you. Um, I'm enjoying this. I hope that you're enjoying your beverage, and feel free to say hello. The whole point of this is to serve as a social grounding thing for all of us, like meeting up with your friends at the pub. But you shouldn't be doing that now. You probably aren't able to in most places, though I know that some people tuned in probably live in areas where maybe bars are still open. If that's the case, you should be doing this. FaceTime somebody you love. I did it the other night after one of these videos, and it was great. Uh, do not go sit in a pub. Uh, you know, silly as that may be. Uh, so on Instagram, we got my friend Carmen saying 1 million bands are the best. I agree very often. There's just that kind of singular focus, that very if you're able to execute a vision like that, by all means, I think you should. Some people probably could stand to have an editor on their side. I also notice, especially in metal, a lot of one-man bands are the ones that make 20-minute long songs. Sometimes it is. Uh, yeah. But yeah. I think a good drink is a good drink. There was a short period where I was doing like soda reviews on here, to connect with my straight edge friends and share that, and also just because I like good tasting things. To me, it's not just about alcohol. I fell in love with beer because of the way it tasted, not because of the way it made me feel. If anything, I'm often wary of catching a buzz. It's really weird sometimes drinking on here because like I'll feel it a little bit as I get farther in, and that like makes me anxious. Like I don't want to be seen intoxicated, even though I'll go out and have a drink with my friends. But I'm usually the one that's like skipping around when everybody else is having one because I'm usually the one that's like skipping around when everybody else is having one because I'm so mocktail company uh, up in Canada. Really cool idea. That way, like sober people can use to, I'm not, so I can only really drink red. I don't know why. I'm sure there's something, but I love red wine, but I cannot tell beyond a tiny difference. Like I can tell the difference between a $3 bottle and a $15 bottle, maybe. But when you start getting into expensive wine, I have no idea. I couldn't tell you anything about wine. But I guess that makes me a good date. Anytime I go see my parents, my dad likes to order wine for the table at a restaurant. And I'll usually join in. Good date. Anytime I go see my parents, my dad likes to order wine for the table at a restaurant. And I'll usually join in. And I can tell it's really nice, but he'll often order bottles that are probably 5 times or far more the price point than what I would ever imagine getting. And I can't tell the quality being 5 times or more what it is. It's just like, oh yeah, this is good. I would drink it again. But wine makes me so relaxed. I like that. But if I were to do it now, I would never. If I had wine now instead of beer, I wouldn't make dinner after this. I would just be too tired. I'd eat cookies for dinner or something. I forget. It's biscuits, isn't it? Or even English friend here in Brooklyn. And so there's certain turns of phrase I've picked up that I'm like, okay, this he's also lived here long enough to where he probably uses more. Cookies are big quite a bit with some good gravy. Found a place here that has like a vegan biscuits and gravy with like curried gravy and seitan sausages on it. And it was so indulgent. It made me so sick. Okay. So I'm learning that I've also been told on Instagram that I need to check out Crown of Twilight, one-man black metal band. So I'm gonna have to look that up. I feel like there's been kind of an endless supply, for lack of a better word, of one-man bands lately, which is good. I mean, I think everybody should make art, whether or not you're successful in the popularity way or not. I think it's good for you as a person to make art. So that's finished. Time to listen to a different record. So I've got a couple of options ahead of me, and I'm actually torn between changing gears or keeping with heavy metal. So if anybody chimes in the next, 20 seconds or so, I'll take that into account as I'm able. And if not, I'll just throw on whichever one I grab first. There we are. That guy's back in the sleeve. I'm going to take a nice big sip, and then I'm going to decide. Okay, we're going to listen to another heavy metal record. Or, again, just one side of it, because otherwise we'd be here all night if I was playing full albums. And also, the goal is to encourage you to want to check out more. So, again, when this is finished on YouTube, I'm going to include links to the Bandcamps for all these albums in full. You can check it out with better sound quality, also the ability to purchase it and support the artist if you can afford to right now and have the inclination. So I strongly urge that. And up next, this one's from 2018. It's A Forest of Stars with Grave Mounds and Grave Mistakes. They are probably the most aggressively English metal band I've heard since Cradle of Filth, maybe even more so. It's just, I'll admit it's a little absurdist, but that's part of why I like it. So, standard fair black vinyl, which I don't need colors to enjoy it. If you do, then you're probably not buying it for the right reasons. Not that I don't like a lovely package, mind you, but if that's necessary or mandatory, then I don't get that at all. So we're listening to side A. It's a double LP, so there were 4 sides I could choose from, but honestly, the first track is a great way. Oh, the first full song, there's like an intro track. It's just wonderful. So here we are. A Forest of Stars, Grave Mounds, and Grave Mistakes. And the art on this, it's going to be really hard to show because we got the glare coming in from the window, and this is pretty darkly lit. So again, look this up on Bandcamp and check it out because it's really cool. But I'm going to show it to you as best I can, inside and out. So you can see it's kind of like a village at night almost. Buildings and such. All the art, save for the picture of the band, things that obviously have people in them, they were like miniature model sets that I believe the band themselves has created and photographed, which is really cool, creating a small little world. And I'm being asked if I had an awkward teenage Cradle of Filth face. I don't know if it was that awkward, but yes, of course I did. I got From the Cradle to Enslave. It's probably the first black metal adjacent album I ever bought. I guess that's an EP, maybe. I don't know. I got it at Best Buy. And I was very excited to have it. And again, this isn't going to show up much better, but poster with the album art or a variant on it. But yeah, all this stuff like this. You can see there's like a little jar of rat poison here in the center of that. That is all like little miniature stuff that the band created, I guess, which is pretty cool, I think. But yeah, no, I realized that Cradle of Filth are a very polarizing band for a lot of people. I think that with a different singer, they'd probably be a lot better of a band, honestly. And I know that for some people, the singer's the appeal, but they've got some cool guitars and some cool keyboard parts. They just, oh boy, that guy, that voice. A lot of time he's very shrill and shrieky, and I don't like it. So, yeah, that's all the goodies from this one, but strong lyric sheet, or not strong, but huge lyric sheet rather. Um, yeah, this is I'm trying to find any extra information that might make this interesting to you, but I can't. It's just good. But I realize that this sort of music is very polarizing too, in its own way. So Roger has joined is laughing, and I'm not sure at what, but it's probably at me. Hello. Is laughing, and I'm not sure at what, but it's probably at me. Hello. For those who don't know, Roger is from Lucy's Space Cake and one of my oldest friends. Well, youngest, but we've known. But yeah, this is, it's not all Dark Throne all the time. That's boring. Even though I love Dark Throne. Yeah. See, I don't know if you heard him. He says we're all fucked, which true. I'm pretty sure the context of the lyrics of the song or something else, but let's not split hairs here. So, I'm being told by our friend Sue that Roger is the oldest member of the band, and I need to get it right. I mean, there are certain ways in which this is true, especially Roger mid-head shave, looking like somebody's uncle, having pattern baldness. And I've also been told that it's better to have an awkward Cradle of Filth phase than an awkward Insane Clown Posse phase, which I fully agree with. I honestly didn't even hear Insane Clown Posse until like a year ago. I'd never heard their music. And at this point, I've got to at least give them credit because their fans have been, and they've been more politically progressive in the age of Trump than fans and members of a lot of the bands that I did like as a teenager in some of my awkward phases. So, to be fair, black metal's the genre with Nazis, whereas ICP seem like they're probably decent dudes who I just can't relate to. No way, the Gatherings! The Gathering of the Juggalos. Yeah, didn't Cannibal Corpse play the Gathering of the Juggalos last year or a recent year? I feel like it's weird how, in retrospect, everybody's like, oh, there were so many things that were so much worse than ICP. We're going to forgive that, and we're just, the subversive communities are now embracing the Insane Clown Posse. This isn't even that strong of a beer. I shouldn't be slipping on my words like that. Here we are. Yeah, and I think like was it Danny Brown played it and stuff. Like yeah, this is 5% alcohol, so I'm certainly not getting tanked off, one can of beer. So I've been. Oh, and my friend Caitlin has joined on Instagram. Good to see you, Caitlin. We are doing a live version of my Black Metal and Brews videos in which I play heavy metal records and drink beer. So for those who don't know, which is I guess all of you, Caitlin is quite possibly actually the oldest friend I have in any context. We met when I was 15 or 16 in high school and had philosophical talks and had a good time together, challenging each other's worldview and doing stuff that teenagers don't normally do in terms of friendship. We also, drank underage and got into other trouble. But, you know, by and large, there was, it was nice to have a friend who I could connect with and understand as a complete outsider. So that was cool. And then for those on YouTube, I've been asked, what are the details on the Mikkeller beer? I'm glad you asked. So, it is called Passion Pool. It is a passion fruit goza. So you got passion fruit and sea salt in a relatively light work. I think for those of you in California who are asking, I think they have the San Diego branch that brews it. Yeah, Mikkeller San Diego is in fact the one that specifically makes this. So it's good. Very refreshing, very appropriate for the fact that it was a little sunnier today here in Brooklyn. I don't, I won't say that it's warm yet, but it's not cold either. You know, we didn't really have much of a winter here. I think it snowed once in like December or November. I don't know about the rest of you. I think some states got hit a few times, but excuse me. Here in New York, it was a frighteningly mild winter we had. So I feel like this summer is going to be just brutally hot. Maybe not. But yeah, we are listening for those just joining into A Forest of Stars and their last album, Grave Mounds and Grave Mistakes. As I said earlier, and I will always assert, they are possibly the most aggressively and pointedly English band in heavy metal right now. But they're very tasteful in all of their almost. A lot of their stuff is very humorously psychedelic. It's very tongue-in-cheek, very playful, silly. But there's strong atmosphere, strong sense of composition. Very wonderful band all around, to be fair. But I think if you are very serious about heavy metal, it may not be as much for you, and that's fine. I think if you love something, you should be able to laugh at it and laugh with it. But that's just me. I love that just puckering sensation of a good tart sip. That's so good. You can see it's a pretty thick, hazy beer. So you should have an idea of what you're in for. And not a strong hop profile or any of that, which, if you know me, I prefer that. I'm so over the IPA world. I like IPAs. I'm probably going to drink one tomorrow on here, but I guess I'm over the one-upsmanship of how can I make my beer more bitter. And yes, I've been told that Mikkeller rules, and they do in fact rule. They make some of the most interesting, challenging, but delicious beers that I've had. I think a lot of places that do that sort of thing are not. I think a lot of places are more experimental with beer, and don't they don't always hit the mark. Whereas Mikkeller, I've always enjoyed every beer I've had from them, which is a strong words, but it's honest. I don't know. I think that they really get it right. I always, again, as I was saying the other day, like I love when breweries take a chance, even if it doesn't pan out. I think it's a good way to learn. It's a good experience for the consumer also to learn, even if, again if it's not good. I've learned from a lot of weird beers I've had. And Ghosts are bomb. They are actually one of my favorite styles the last couple of years. I keep getting that sea quench from Dogfish Head, and which is so damn good. Um, yeah, and so we're seeing that the tap room. Vincent, I know you're in Southern California. Are you near the San Diego tap room? If so, that's awesome. Chocolate Bar has stepped into the room. Welcome. Yeah, I don't know. I I like weird food. Where I where I'm not so averse to the term, I'd probably call myself a foodie. But I think there's a lot of things like I mean the cutesifying of calling it like I'm foodie. Like no, you like food. I mean everybody does. We all eat. Um, but I'm interested in strange new experiences. So I think inherently, especially with flavor and sound, that's going to lead you in some strange directions. And for me, beer is no different. So there's apparently a Mikkeller tap room in downtown Los Angeles now, which is really cool. There's Mikkeller NYC. I didn't learn about them until after I got sick last year, so I haven't been out to it. But apparently they do like beer deliveries, which is just fantastic. Uh, I'm not in an income bracket where I can order beer to be delivered. In fact, I have, including this, 11 beers in my fridge. And I think after that, I don't know if, until we know how long this is all going on, I don't know if I can afford to buy more beer, which is, of all the problems we could have, okay. Uh, because I'd much rather keep myself fed and my rent paid. Just maybe. This, it's probably really quiet because these speakers don't go very loud with records for some reason, but it'll come in with all the, there's a melody. It's probably played on a synthesizer, but it's meant to sound like an accordion. So
Losing the night in a race to hate morning, when a lonely child loses it to the moon. Now we're all carrion, rotting here at the gates to another empty paradise. I've been forever building pyres in my mind, gathering fallen limbs of masters past.
Yeah. Listening to this, I realized, like, no wonder I was, like, the one kid in high school that really loved the class on romantic poetry and prose.
I shall gather my strength amongst the remnants of my kin, and build a bonfire against the eternal twisting night, the never-ending fast moon night. I shall raise enormous sparks against the cold sharp pitch, but as we gather here against the end, the sparks will burn on. Sparks kindling to roaring flame, fires of the mind, starting up again.
Yeah, that, like, synth voice, like, it kind of reminds me of, like, almost like Neverending Story sort of synthesizer sound. I can justify beer as a food ingredient. Beer batter is a food. Yeah, beer batter is a food. Ale stew, yeah. I used to do a lot of cooking with beer. Now I just drink it. Beer cheese, beer bread. Oh, that's man. That's what I'm about. Like when I had a different sort of dietary lifestyle, I kind of regret that I had never tried beer can chicken when I was more omnivorous than I am now. But yeah. So be it. I've heard it's a really good thing though. Beer battered halloumi. I've never had halloumi. I want to though so badly. I've heard halloumi is a wonderful food, and I'm hungry too. People on Instagram are talking about food now. We're all hungry. When I do these, I don't have dinner beforehand. I do dinner after because with ulcerative colitis, if I eat, I wouldn't be able to do this. I'd be running too much of a risk of finding myself ill. Beer doesn't seem to have an impact on me really. I mean, I'm sure if I drank 5, I'd be sick. But I think that's just what alcohol does to anybody, which is why I usually have one a night. You know, it's weird. Like I think a lot of people who are beer people are really like, yeah, I'm drinking. But I almost feel like if I have more than 2 beers, the joy goes away from it, and it changes. Like, then it becomes like I am drinking because I'm out with people and we are drinking, instead of I'm drinking because I enjoy drinking. Uh, Small victories, yeah. Yes, I'm happy I can always relax with a beer, share good music with people. I feel very lucky. Uh, you know, even though I realize that I live in a city that is the epicenter of this pandemic, one of a few, mind you. Uh, you know, I'm also in a city where there's access to really good food and drink, access to really good music for that matter. Although these guys have never played in the United States, to the best of my knowledge. I can get my needs met and then some. And so, even though I am certainly at the very, not at the bottom of the working poor, but I am the working poor for sure. I still have a few extra pennies, and I can get some good beers. I can get some interesting meals. Really, no matter who or what you are or are into, there's so much here for us. It's scary being here, probably more so than it is a lot of other places. Although I think eventually it'll be about the same everywhere. But right now, New York is a terrifying place to be. But uh, I've been bid farewell from a friend in Instagram. But it's, there's nowhere I'd rather be still. I have everything I could ever want and then some, which I feel very fortunate and grateful for that. That little rhythm. I love it. Like I love a band that can just kind of flip the script for a minute and go back to something more straightforward. I don't know. Maybe you do too. I hope that you do, because that's what we have. My posture is horrible. Like, you may not know. I'm sitting in a chair that has no back. It's like a stool. So I'm just left to my own bad posture. I feel like if I was sitting in a seat with a backing, I would be more like this all the time, more proper, as I should be. Instead, I'm like sitting all wayward, all flopsy, like hunched at my lowest. Uh, no doubt destroying my spine for years to come. And on YouTube, we've just been joined by our dear friend Eric Bauer. Eric is much more proficient and prolific and interesting on YouTube. If you're in there, you can probably. I don't know if Eric, if you have a separate channel for that, or if you do it under your name on here. I'm forgetful, but he shares good music stuff. He's an interesting and sweet, compassionate human being, and there's not enough of this, especially in heavy metal, because for some reason everybody would rather defend bad human beings, like not like my personal standard, but like objectively bad human beings, like Nazis and rapists. A lot of people would say, "Oh, I don't really care, because I like that guy's songs." Whereas Eric is into some really cult ripping ass music, but also, you know, decent human being. It's not that hard to do both, is it? And I'll be the first to admit sometimes I really get into something, I share it with the world, and then later find out, best people. And when that happens, you just admit it and move on. You don't sit and clutch your pearls about it because Jesus, there's so many more important, relevant things in this world. So that side of that record has ended. Uh, and So I've got two options. We could let this run real long today, and I could play another record and then do a tape, or I can play the tape now. I feel like it's probably better to just do the tape because I don't have a lot of beer left, as we can see. So yeah, I like how I'm like, oh, I could do this or this, and then I just kind of jump to that. And oh man, we got another good friend on Instagram who I didn't expect to come in. So we're live streaming on Instagram and YouTube for like the second time ever. I think tomorrow I'm gonna make a proper Instagram for Black Metal and Brews separate. Hi is I'm going to admit I need to work on pronunciation. Is it Jamila or Jamila? I'm terrible at this and I apologize, but I want to get it right because I respect you. Hi Amy, welcome everybody. So many lovely people watching on Instagram right now, and so many lovely people on YouTube too, for that matter. Less conversational on YouTube, but good people. We're doing Black Metal and Brews live stream because we're all stuck at home and may as well share something good. Jamila, all right. So for those who don't know, Jamila is the singer of a band called Ithaca, which is exactly spelled exactly how you'd think it is. It's really weird in 2020 to be saying how much I enjoy a band that plays metalcore because that was kind of what I fell into when I was like 15, which is a very long time ago. But they actually rip. It reminds me of that kind of golden age of Trustkill Records and that ilk. And like when I first found a lot of the better bands, like things I'm less inclined to feel embarrassed about liking now. Though I thought the name was ridiculous, uh, and the art was ridiculous. It looks like some straight up nerd shit because it is. Sorry for the language if anybody's watching with a child. Uh, this is a double cassette compilation of their work. We're going to play from volume 1 because the tape is purple as opposed to the other, volume 2, which is yellow. Came out on Out of Season. They're both great. Because I can't pick, I'm just like, oh, we'll play the purple tape. So, you know, I guess when in doubt, go by your favorite colors. So, it's time to go into the dungeon. And the cool thing about these guys, or this guy, I don't know. I never know. I feel like I assume every dungeon syntact is one person. This is like kind of walking that line between video game soundtrack and like minimalist medieval music. There are some that are a little. Ooh, that's loud. There's some that are a little too like fanciful, frolicking in the woods kind of stuff, which I don't dislike. I just like it less. Yeah. So Questmaster and Volume One's on purple, but the art isn't as cool. You see, like that's a guy. He just slayed a dragon, and there's like another dragon in the background on fire. It's a tiny castle. That's really cool, but somehow the other one's even cooler. And again, you probably can't see this because the lighting in here isn't great. The sun's so, which is why there's going to be a Bandcamp link in YouTube for you later. Look at this one. If you can see it at all, I'm going to show it to people on Instagram or YouTube. Look at that. That is crazy. Volume 2, like, there's like, I don't know, two dragons fighting in the sky. There's a lightning bolt going up from a cloud at them. There's like a castle. There's a reaper and some other guy who looks like he's probably a warrior class D&D type. They're like about to go into some catacomb. That is crazy. The whole premise of this project is that it's meant to be like a soundtrack to an unreleased video game from the 1990s, an RPG, of course, because is there any other kind of game? I don't know if that's true. I don't know if the game actually ever was meant to exist. I have a feeling that's just kind of the backstory. But because of that, this just lots of really cool line that I really like. I came up on the soundtracks from Super Nintendo games and Sega Genesis games. I think for those of you in Europe, it was called the Mega Drive. But early 90s video gaming was my world because my life sucked and video games ruled. And my friend Adam just joined. Cheers, welcome. We're drinking a Mikkeller beer, listening to Dungeon Synth now. We were listening to Black Metal earlier, but because we're winding down, wanted to end on a soft note. And again, if anybody else is drinking anything interesting out there, share it with me or tell me what it is, because I, would love to hear what else is out there. There's so many good beers. This is a passion fruit goza, and it is delicious. So for those on Instagram who saw Adam join in, Adam is a singer of more bands than I can keep track of at this point. Notably, Shatter Logoth, probably didn't say it right, sorry, Wolf Serpent, Skeleton Witch, Pulchra Morte, a bunch of others. So I think a bunch of others. Maybe that's it. Maybe I got them all. Who knows anymore? Adam probably started 5 bands since we started this episode. And so on YouTube, we got Eric, who's about to drink some chai tea. That is good chai tea. I haven't had anything with caffeine in over a year since I got sick, which is weird. And if you're tuned into me on Instagram, it's about to kick me off because I've been streaming for almost an hour. But, I'm going to restart it the second it kicks me. So, Siobhan, you've got a nice IPA from a local brewery. It's brewed with leftover cereal from the Kellogg factory. I bet that's really interesting. Does that give it a more, oaty, weedy flavor? What does that do to it? And Vincent in California is drinking Boomtown Brewery's. Will be drinking Mike Czech. Czech is in Czech Republic. After work, a solid hoppy Pilsner. That sounds really good too. I like a Pilsner. I love a Pilsner, in fact. Clutching my beer glass like I'm Gollum with the ring now that I've got this on. I'm just apparently my inner madness coming out. This is where I would normally sing Can I Play With Madness, but nobody wants to hear that. But yeah, this is awesome. You can't tell me that you hear this and don't feel like putting on your wizard cloak. Questmaster rules. And so if you're watching on YouTube, give me 2 seconds. We're restarting the live stream on Instagram. All right, there we go. Got him back up and running. Thrilling times, let me tell you. Ooh, and I've got a redness to my face there, so there we go. So welcome back, Instagram friends. It keeps turning my face red on the computer, though, so that's fun. That's something I'll have to contend with, I guess. But yeah, welcome all. We're probably in the last 15-ish minutes of the show here. Apparently the computers just decided to turn me red. That's just what I'm going to have to live with. But if you're watching on my phone through Instagram, you don't have to see my red face. It's like a regular colored face. Thank goodness. Yeah. It's like 7 o'clock here in Brooklyn. It's, I think today a lot of the realities of all this really hit, because we've been indoors, Autumn and I, my girlfriend and I, for over 2 weeks now. I think today's day 16 for us. And she left to get groceries, and she came home, and we had to disinfect all the packages and all that. And it was just a really intense and scary, just realization, this is not just holding up and cooking at home and thinking internally, but it's real and it's big. And yeah, so Carmen, who has commented on Instagram, shout outs to Lady Space Geek. I like that because Autumn's band is Lacey Space Geek. Carmen got one of Autumn's really cool Bernie Sanders buttons in the vein of Lucifer Rising. It's Bernie 2020 instead of Lucifer in that kind of rainbow design. Still have plenty of those, so if you are interested in such a thing, let me know. We'll figure out a way one day when we're able to go to the post office again, maybe, because nobody's doing that now. Yeah, and so if you're watching on YouTube, Eric Bauer just commented his wife Nina got a couple of those pins, and that's true because Nina rules. And yeah. So I've asked on Instagram what else I've played today. So today we're playing Questmaster now. And obviously, if you're watching this after the fact, there'll be a playlist in the YouTube comments. But so we started with turning around trying to find the record. Sorry, there. With Funereal Presence, a Chathius, one of 2019's finest black metal moments. Kind of mortuary drape-esque stuff. One-man band from here in New York. Vicious, classic black metal, but from now. Really cool. And then after that, we played the A side of Forest of Stars, Grave Mounds, and Grave Mistakes. And the album cover is so damn dark you can't even see it. But we're keeping it diverse. So yeah. And again, thank you all for being here. This is super fun for me, and I hope it's fun for you. It's nice to connect with friends, have a chance to talk. It wouldn't bother me at all. In fact, I'd encourage it if you all talk amongst yourselves to make friends. If you see somebody either in YouTube or in Instagram where you're, you don't know them, but they're saying something that you even marginally agree with, now's the time to make new friends, because what else are you going to do? It doesn't matter if they live near you. You can't meet up with them and do stuff together anyway. So why not find somebody new you can connect with? Especially since, more than ever, we need people who are positive and on the level instead of, distant, divisive. And I'm pretty sure anybody that's watching this, especially now that I've been doing it for over an hour, nobody watching this is going to be somebody who is coming from a place of elitism and cruelty and aggression. I think pretty much everybody I know and interact with and who cares about what I'm doing is a humble, compassionate, and is here to share a love of music and beer, hopefully too. If not, that's cool. With other like-minded individuals. And if you're here for different reasons, I'm not going to disrespect that, but I can't say I fully understand. I don't understand gatekeeping. I don't understand cruelty or bigotry. Or rather, I understand them and I do not appreciate them. If you're coming from those places, there's no place for you in what I'm doing. At some point, I'm going to start doing more not live streamed, opinion videos, because I think it's important to make it known. Anybody who knows me knows, but I'd like to talk about politics and music and how I think it's important for people to state where they are. But if your music sucks, it still sucks. And also, if your political opinion is right-wing and scummy, I'm still going to say that nobody should bother with that, because if you're going to do garbage things, you're going to be treated like garbage. What you do is kind of a way of showing who you are. So, yeah. I think this is really cool music, at least. That very just spacey, ambient, otherworldly synthesizer music. This is not fully divorced from that kind of tangerine dream root that I think a lot of the artists in the dungeons of the community come from, whether or not they know it. But it also feels more crumbled down to barer elements. Some of that medieval stuff is there, but it's not overly like, that frolicking in the forest energy. It's got more mystery and wonder and imagination to it, which I really like. It also sounds like it was made on really cheap equipment, whether or not it was, but I really like that. And so on Instagram, our friend Chris has said Cruelty and the Beast interlude vibes, which totally, I think a lot of this music kind of reminds me of like intro tracks to black metal records. And I think that that's honestly such a strong part of the atmosphere. It'd be like a little flute that come and go like, and you'd just be like, what's going to happen? That's so cool. There's mystery, there's wonder, it's exciting, it's interesting. And so, gosh, like everybody's joining in on Instagram now that we've been doing this for 70 minutes. And I hate to disappoint you all. We've only got probably 3 to 5 left. As the sun's going down, and I don't feel like turning on the light above me. And also, this beer is almost empty, but I'm glad you're here. And again, this is meant to bring community. We should be coming together as we can and as we're able. So on Instagram, our friend Siobhan is suggesting that she hopes an increase in shut-ins translates to an increase in dungeons. And I agree, especially because I think that I probably enjoy 20% or less of what comes out of that community. And given how productive it is, there's still a ton that I enjoy. But because of that, like the more there is, the greater the likelihood that there'll be more I enjoy. Just, I think that's how math works. If I knew how to make this sort of stuff, I would. Or rather, if I knew how to record it, I can play a keyboard, kind of. But, I also kind of can't. I definitely couldn't come up with something like this. I can hit like 3 notes in succession and just loop it, and then play 2 different notes to make it like not quite the high fantasy sort of environment that a lot of this stuff conveys. But maybe some of that rusty, amateurish, raw stuff, which I think is really cool. Just gnarly, minimalist synthesizer music. Like, I'm into that. Maybe I'll do it. And, since I can't figure out how to record it, just record it through my phone speaker for ultimate lo-fi, posterity, I guess. I don't know. Anyway. Yeah, I've kind of reached the end here myself. As you see, there's only a couple sips left. And there's a few more songs on this tape, but not a lot. So, let's wind it down. I've been told now is a better time than ever to make my own terrible dungeon synth, so expect that soon. I've already been recording weird, not metal, not post-punk, but kind of a bit of both stuff by myself, so yeah, let's do it. Let's make some terrible music. Anyway, we're going to call it. It's been a really fun time with you guys. I'm glad you're all here. Again, every day I'm going to be doing these for the foreseeable future as a way of connecting and grounding myself, and hopefully helping you as well in finding a sense of community and togetherness. It's like having a drink with a friend, except from a distance. It's at least 6 feet from me to you, so we're safe, we're having fun. And I appreciate you all being here. Every day, in addition, in the mornings, earlier in the day. Oh, I love this song. This one feels very Zelda to me. I don't know. I'm going to be posting playlists every morning on patreon.com/blackmetalandbrews. You don't have to be a paying patron on there to see them. I'm making it public because I know everybody's losing their jobs with the pandemic. That's just where I'm posting them, so that I don't have to put it up on my website, and you don't have to follow me on Spotify or anything like that. It's the place to put them. If you want to throw me money, cash is tight here. I won't say no. In fact, I'd appreciate it greatly. But I'm never going to put something behind the pay gate because that's just not appropriate right now, and not where my heart and soul are. So, I think it's great to end on a high note with this. This is a wonderful tape. Again, there's going to be links in YouTube for this soon. Tomorrow or in the next 24 hours, I'm going to be creating a separate Instagram account for Black Mountain Brew, so I can do these live streams without all the people who know me just on my personal one. Seeing this and thinking, what's Ben doing? Oh, it's that. That's boring. So thank you. Thank you all for being here. Jamila, thank you. I adore all my friends, and I hope that someday soon we can all do Beer Geek stuff together and play with dogs and stuff in a much better, safer world. Anyway, I'm Ben. You're you. Thank you for being here. We've had some time with Black Melon Brews. Cheers. I'll see you all tomorrow.